yesterday, a lady that was involved in a car crash, actually linked to one of my circle of friends, she died because an ambulance couldn't get through because your protesters, Just Stop Oil, were blocking the road and the ambulance couldn't get through in time. She couldn't get the help she needed and she died. Earlier you said that you are a peaceful protester. My friend is dead. How do you answer that?
We have a blue light policy, which means whenever we have roadblocks, as soon as we hear sirens, we see the blue lights, people move out of the way. Even when people are gluing in the road, there's always one lane that is kept clear so that people can move out of the way. And we have never had any complaints from either ambulances, fire brigade, or any other emergency services.
The video footage exists, and the lady can't complain now because she's dead. Let me ask you another question, Phoebe. Let me ask you, what bills do you currently pay? Who pays for your accommodation at university?
My student loan.
So we're on the Valuetainment podcast. Patrick Bet David is hosting as usual, and he has Katie Hopkins as the guest. And phoning in are two climatard activists. They're young, they're very naive, they're very, how can I describe activists who throw soup on a priceless Vincent van Gogh painting in a museum in London, or the same activists who glue themselves to busy roads in and around London to block traffic in order to bring public awareness to the plight of the climate and to their campaign to shut down oil. Yeah, I think Katie's going to have a thing or two to say to these climatards.
Well, have you ever paid any bills in your lifetime?
No.
So you don't know what it's like to be a homeowner and not to be able to afford your energy bills, and then see some stupid young people throwing soup over a painting in a gallery that has nothing to do with the fact they can't afford to pay their bills. You don't know what it's like to pay a bill, Phoebe, do you?
No, but I have empathy for those people. You know, the climate crisis is fueled, but the cost of living crisis is fueled by the cost of oil crisis. They are both one crisis. It's a crisis of greed of our government and their billionaire friends.
What do you understand about an ordinary family who can't afford to pay their fuel bills, who needs ordinary fuel to be delivered, but because of green taxation, their bills are now so expensive they can't afford them? And if we stop oil, how much more expensive do you think fuel's going to be, Phoebe? Or is it that you're just spouting out words that you and your friend think look good? How is it related to stopping oil to throw soup over a painting in a gallery? How is that related? How is it helping the poorest people in my country?
I understand that right now fossil fuels are subsidized 32 times more than renewables, even though renewables are 9 times cheaper.
Gonna need a source on that. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure government is in bed with huge energy companies, no doubt about it. Politicians are bought and paid. We all know that. Donations are made to political parties. Favors get done in return for those donations. So, yeah, in a sense, she makes a good point. Now, this thing about how fossil fuels are 33 times more subsidized than renewable energy, I don't know. Would have to look into that. The fact is, Western society runs on oil. You cannot have a first world civilization in the current day, right now, powered by renewable energy. Just is not going to work, except maybe in some unusual circumstances. You know, perhaps I hear Iceland, for example, has harnessed its natural geothermal energy. That's fantastic. Iceland is a unique case. It's small, it's an island, it has geothermal energy, that they can harness. Fantastic. That's great. If other places have that, then harness it. Absolutely. If you live in a place with non-stop sunlight, powerful sun, it's hot and it's sunny all the time. Sure, why not harness solar power? Although solar power, as they never tell us, it comes with its own downsides, because to make solar panels, you have to dig certain rare minerals out of the earth. And what do they call them? Rare minerals out of the earth. And they don't last, solar panels don't last forever. So There's a whole lot that goes into it, but our current society is powered by oil. That's the way it is. Should we become less dependent on oil? Absolutely, if we can, but this is going to take time.
Would you rather your bills were £3,500 or £400?
I would rather that you and your friends stopped wreaking havoc in the city of London. I'd rather you stop throwing soup over paintings, stop putting orange paint on the windows of Harrods, stop sitting in roads so that my friend couldn't get the treatment that she needed. And I'd rather you went out, worked a bit. Maybe you could do some litter picking on a beach. Maybe you could do something that was practical and helpful. But I don't think being obtrusive and obstructive and lecturing ordinary people when you have no idea what it's like to try and work and make ends meet in the UK. You talk about millions of people. You talk about people who are in poverty. You have no idea what that's like because you live in the rarefied atmosphere of a university at some wokerati place, and you think what you're doing is changing the planet. I think what you're doing is pissing people off, and I think you could allocate your energies more effectively by going out and picking up litter on a beach.
Well, she makes a very good point. What they're doing is absolutely pissing off ordinary people. This is not just happening in the UK. I've seen also similar climate activists gluing themselves to the roads in other European countries. And yeah, it's ridiculous. It just annoys everybody. Everybody has a job to get to. We all have to work. We all have our lives to get on with. We all have to earn a living. It's great if you're a student or you don't have to work and you can do this kind of thing. And yeah, claim that you're bringing attention to the climate crisis. You know, these people literally think the world is about to end. Like literally. So take a look. You can easily find a list of since the 70s. I've been hearing this since I was a kid in the 70s. You know, first there's going to be global freezing. Then oil's going to run out by 1980. Then the ozone layer, excuse me. There's a problem with the ozone layer, then this and this, and we've all heard the predictions, which never plan out. Now, I'm not going to get started on a whole climate rant here. Katie makes a good point that if you want to do something actually valuable, yeah, go do something for the environment. You know, pick up litter, or why don't you act, you know, if you want to make a difference, why don't you get plastic bottles banned? I think those things should be banned now, tomorrow. Immediately, you know, especially single-use plastics, absolutely ridiculous. They just end up in landfills. They can't be recycled. It's complete garbage. They leach, you know, in the plastic bottles and plastic containers, leach substances into the food that's inside them. The whole thing's a mess, and it's not good. You know, I remember I told my youngest daughter just the other day that when I was a kid in the 70s in the States, there were no plastic bottles. Didn't have single-use plastic bottles. You know, you wanted to buy bottles of Coke, you wanted to buy soft drinks or something like that, either came in cans, aluminum cans, which could be recycled, or in bottles. We had actual bottles, glass bottles. You get them in cases, and you could take them back, and they would be recycled and reused, cleaned out and reused. Had a whole system going. So something like that would actually make a real difference.
Thank you.
Can I just write out really quickly? I just want to empathise with you, Katie, but it truly does break my heart to hear about your friend. It really does. But I really want you to understand that myself and Phoebe are acting out of fear. You know, we are terrified that...
You shouldn't be, my darlings. You shouldn't be. You have been fed a load of nonsense. You're going to live way past 25, and I hope you live till 100 and have a brilliant, brilliant life. Young people should not be in a place where you're being intimidated by fear. You should be living the best life you can. Jump, 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 and your wings will unfurl on the way down. You're limiting your whole world.
We should be living a life...
Not standing throwing soup in a gallery.
Because it has to be done. We're fighting for our lives here. Oh. The only way we can make the change happen is if we make systematic change.
This is what happens when you brainwash children with this climatard nonsense and catastrophism from a young age. They literally, I mean, I wouldn't call this young lady a liar. She probably really believes this, that she's fighting for her life, that, you know, the world is coming to an end, like a comet is going to hit tomorrow. No, that's not what's going to happen. Yes, there are things which could be improved, absolutely. You want to improve the environment? You know what you could do? You You want to get rid of all carbon emissions from energy and from fossil fuels? Go nuclear. It works. It's very powerful. It delivers plenty of energy. You never hear them saying that, though.
I completely empathize with you, and I want you to understand that this disruption that we are causing will stop immediately as soon as the government releases a meaningful statement that they will stop producing more fossil fuels. It's as easy as that. I understand your anger. I really do. I really understand your frustration. I'm angry and frustrated. I really, really am. But all this can stop the minute the government...
That's not true, because we need more fuel. We need more fuel supply. One of the things about supply and demand, as you'll know, is if supply is restricted, demand remains the same, prices go up. It's basic economics. We don't have enough fuel supply. Stopping oil is not going to help with pricing. You talk about renewables. They're not there ready to take over from oil.
Well, we currently have 8 years worth of oil in reserve. So if we stop new oil licenses now, we would still have 8 years to make a just and fair transition to becoming a completely renewable society. The biggest solar farm in the UK was built in 6 weeks. You know, we're an island right now. We could be harnessing tidal power. Tidal power currently accounts for 10% of our UK's energy production.
I hear your stats, but do you see that you're going to need to bring the general population with you and people's opinion with you? And I don't believe you're going to bring any people's opinion with you when you're stood throwing soup at artwork.
When they say things like a just and fair transition to renewables, that's code. That's very much liberal, leftist, Marxist even. That's social justice language, basically. Social justice basically means, oh, I want your stuff and I want to divide it amongst all my friends so that we all have a shitty standard of living together. You know, I can't stand to see people doing better than me. So, so we're going to take all your stuff and redistribute it so we all have a very mediocre standard of living. Now, don't get me wrong. I think we should get off. You know, the Western world is completely and utterly hooked on oil. No doubt about it. I think we should just get back to nuclear. Problem solved. But for now, oil is what powers our Western civilization. So, should we work towards getting off it? Yes. But we need energy. That's just the way it goes. We need energy. So, we need efficiently produced energy. If we can generate energy efficiently using so-called green methods, sure, why not? But you have to look at the total cost and everything that's involved. For example, she brings up solar panels. Okay, great. If you live in a place that can harness the sunlight, but you have to look at the total cost and the total, the damage caused by mining the minerals needed in solar panels and getting rid of the solar panels at the end of their life.
Well, you know, this isn't a popularity contest. The suffragettes were famously hated. Martin Luther King was voted the most hated man in America when he was alive. And the thing is that right now we know that these tactics of non-violent civil resistance do work. I'm sat here today as a queer person, and the reason I'm able to vote, the reason I'm able to go to university, the reason I'm able to hopefully someday will marry the person I love is because of people who have taken part in these acts of non-violent civil resistance before me.
Well, I'm not to cut you guys off. I'm actually a food waste activist, and the fact that you guys threw soup on the painting really bothered me because I'm pretty sure there was hungry people outside that would have loved to have eaten it. So because of that, I'm gonna go fill up my gas tank. I have to.
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of amusing. Yeah, they're wasting food. They're throwing soup on a painting. That soup easily could have been given to a homeless person or some needy person outside the museum in which the painting was housed. In fact, London is full of homeless people. London, sad to say, has descended in many parts into shithole status, and it's very sad to see. So these climatards are just really annoying. We didn't hear much from PBD today, but I think Katie Hopkins made some very good points. These two climate activists, they're young and naive, and they're very passionate, and they really think the world is coming to an end. And yeah, they just think that sitting down and gluing themselves to the road and throwing soup on works of art is somehow going to help their cause. I don't know. You tell me what you think. I'm not convinced. Leave some. Go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section. And if you like this content, please like and subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel and make more content for you.